you know, we think about what others might think. Well, spiders don't care what others think, right? So, you know, they're different and they're okay with that. And so we should be too, right? Hello, I'm Jess Lohman, and I'm here to talk about your animal spirit guides for this. Wow, it's a super full blood lunar eclipse that is coming tomorrow. It's like everything combined in this one full moon. The eclipse will peak tomorrow, which is May 26th, 2021, at 4:13 a.m. in San Francisco, 8:13 p.m. in Tokyo, and 9:13 p.m. in Sydney. I'm reading those times because that's when you'll be able to see it. Like us in Europe, we have no chance because it's daylight. So if you're in Australia or the Western USA or South America or in Southeast Asia, you will have the ability to watch this lunar eclipse. And it's the biggest supermoon of the year, which means that it's closest to the Earth on its axis at this particular time. Closest to the Earth, so it will be big. It will appear really large. So if you're able to get up really early if you're in the Americas and you just don't worry about time, then set your alarm clock, grab a cup of tea, and make yourself comfortable. I hope that you will have clear skies for this, because this moon is going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. And normally a full moon means letting go of something, releasing something. And this one, with all this other eclipse energy and supermoonness and it even being like reddish, it's going to bring a powerful time to cleanse, to reflect, and may also give you like a burst of energy. I'll talk about that later as well with the animal spirit guides, but this is really intense life's purpose energy. So you may actually find, you know, really why you are on this planet during this time. And it's not, this energy of this moon is not just going to be tomorrow or this week or next week. No, it's going to go on for the next 3 months. I'm not an astrologer, but what I've read about this full moon and its energy, that's what everybody's saying. It's like it's gonna last. So it's a really important time to use for your creativeness and for your innovation. And that's why we have these animal spirit guides who threw themselves out of the card deck when I was shuffling them, and it makes sense why. After I shuffled, and then they flew out of the deck, I was like, yes, 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 exactly. These are the guides who are definitely right for this time. And guess who it is? Deer and spider. That's like amazing. The deer immediately. I mean, I didn't even like shuffle twice. It's just like I shuffled once and boom, the deer flipped over. I was like, yeah, okay, that's perfect. And the funny thing was a couple of hours before I did that, I met 2 deer in the meadows. Now, I moved in July last year to a less wooded area. We have a lot of waterways in the area that I am now, but less forest. So I've been, before I lived in like a really pretty big forest area, and so I saw deer quite a lot and have had several spiritual experiences with deer that also like connect with my mom, who passed away in 2016. And so deer is very close to my heart, and one of my totem animals is an elk, which is the red deer. Now the elk has more messages, or not more messages, but slightly different messages, but they're from the same family. So there's a lot of synchronicities. And so deer is really close to my heart, and a couple of hours before I shuffled, I spotted 2 in the meadows, and there are supposedly 3 in my area, and I've only seen 1 at a time, and only twice before, since July. So this was special, and I was on my dog walk, but luckily the meadow's so high now that my dog couldn't see her, and they couldn't see them, and they couldn't see her. So that kind of worked out well. So I just stopped and just watched them, and they watched me. Of course, they want to know if I'm going to be dangerous or not, and we just connected. And the one in the back kind of moved forward. They were only like 3 meters away. That's really not far, maybe 5. I'm not really good at judging distances, but they were pretty close. And the one in the back, just a few steps back, he came forward and then went to the other one. He just kind of passed him a little bit, and then they just started eating again. So this was like a time of like 10 minutes or so, and yeah, I just love the energy of deer. And the other one, spider. Now that may scare people, and I'll get to that soon too. But spider has incredible gifts for us. So do not fear the spider, okay? Because she is very helpful, very helpful. So let's go on to the deer, the beautiful, gentle, loving, compassionate deer. Oh, this is just amazing. I will put a link to the full article down below, so make sure you read that, because I don't say everything that I write, and I don't write everything that I say, so that's why I do both, and people have a different preference of how they want to consume information. So that's why I offer both a video and the writing part of it. So the deer. When you first think of deer, I mean, when I first think of deer, I think that they're big eyes, they're big doe eyes, and they give such a childlike innocence and purity and gentleness to them. I mean, everybody's heart melts when they look into a deer's eyes, right? And so, even in my book, Lily Bowers and the Uninvited Guest, I wrote from the wolf's perspective. He was talking to Lily. Lily's a 10-year-old girl, and he was saying, what would your parents do if I stepped into their living room? And Lily said something like, yeah, well, they'd probably freak out. My mom would probably just freeze, and my dad would probably try to find something to kill you or protect themselves or whatever. Then he said, well, what would happen if a deer walked into your living room? And then the situation was completely different, obviously, right? She then said, well, they'd first, be still, also freeze, and then probably, just find a way to lead the deer out of the living room. And so basically the message of Aloe, the wolf, was saying, find a compassionate type of animal to help you with this one project that you have, one that speaks to people's hearts. And yeah, and wolf isn't it, unfortunately. Wolf is also one of my totem animals. See, I have the elk and the wolf, and there's one's the prey, one's the predator, right? But that's like the yin and yang, the masculine and feminine energy. And so you need both. You need both in order to keep yourself balanced and to keep a healthy ecosystem and, biodiversity. You need different types of energy and different types of animals to be able to have life on Earth. And so that's one thing with the deer. It's just her spirit, her aura is just calmness and gentleness, and she's just, I say she, that's another thing I want to talk about. When I talk about an animal, I don't say it. I don't want to, because an animal, we're animals. Humans are animals. I don't want to call a human an it. I don't call, you know, my daughter an it. Even though in German they call girls das Mädchen, and that is neutral. Weird. I don't understand that. But what I'm trying to say is that I don't call animals its. I feel the energy. Sometimes they come through to me as a female form of that animal. And a lot of animals have a dominating energy, whether it's masculine or feminine. It doesn't mean gender. It doesn't mean bad versus good. It doesn't mean, you know, that one's, you know, better than the other. It just means that it has more feminine energy or more masculine energy. And both deer and spider are very feminine. So I will be saying she, so please, you know, don't get upset about that, but I do talk about the male deer as well with his antlers. And so yeah, every person, every human needs both feminine and masculine energy. And, you know, it's good if we can balance that out, right? We'd have probably a bit more peace in this world if we could balance it out. So back to the deer. Just a few facts about the deer. There are 43 species with over 100 subspecies, and they live everywhere except for Antarctica, the same as a spider, everywhere. And their habitats are like woodlands, prairie, tundra, mountains, swampy areas, even rainforests. I did not know that. And yeah, they're the only family, I won't say species because like I said, there are 43 species. They're the only family in the world who have antlers. And you know what's cool about the antlers, which I also didn't know, they're the fastest growing bone in mammals in the world. Boom! Within like 3 months, you have this incredible crown. And I mean, this is like, I think it was like an inch a day or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was incredibly fast. And what they're doing now is they're studying the antlers to try to find effective and efficient therapies for bone disease and fractures in humans. Pretty cool. As long as, I think, as long as they don't take the antlers off the the deer's head, if they use falling antlers, that's perfectly fine, right? So, and yes, deer has amazing spiritual meanings. The Maya Indians called themselves deer people. I like that. And because deer was considered to be their main blood forefather. That's pretty cool. The ancient Celts believed that the deer is a symbol of sun, fertility, and vitality, and that they led troops of hundreds of fairies as the stag cut through the forest with his antlers. Well, go figure. And then we have Cherokee folklore, which tells the tale of a seductive, shape-shifting deer woman. So there's a lot of symbolism with deer. So what I also incorporate in these readings are conservation efforts, basically because it's important. It's really important to understand how each species is vital to our entire world, to our life, to our livelihoods. Without animals, without plants, without trees, forests, oceans, we could not survive on this earth. So yeah, for every reading I do talk about, you know, endangered species of, you know, a particular animal. And with the deer, you wouldn't think that they have a problem. Deer seem to be everywhere. Why are there so many hunters to control the population? That's another topic for another day. But what's happening is because of deforestation, the fact that we are ripping apart the forests in order to mainly produce soy for animal feed. That's the main reason. I mean, people think that the vegetarians and vegans, that they eat up all the soil. No, the animals do. The farm animals do. And I think it's like, what, 75% or 80%? I wrote about it like last week, the week before, and I can't remember numbers. That's like one thing that, you know, I can't remember statistics in my head. But I did set up a Get Active section on my website, jesslohman.com, and I will put the link in the bottom. And in this section, I do offer information about the UN Sustainable Development Goals for nature. If you're not familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals, otherwise known as SDGs, they were set up by the UN member states in 2015. They set these 17 goals to reach by 2030. So in 9 years. And goals like end poverty, zero hunger, gender equality, efficient cities with clean energy, and partnerships to be able to reach a goal together. And so I specifically talked about or wrote about SDGs number 13, which is climate action against climate change, number 14, which is life below water, and number 15, life on land. And in each of these sections, I give tips on how we can help reach this goal just for ourselves, as individuals, as families. You know, there are a lot of companies who are also working toward them, which is wonderful. And there are a lot of companies and corporations out there who are working against them, and we know who they are. There is a term, ecocide, which means the mass destruction. Hold on, I'm going to read this out loud. Developed by an organization, which I also linked in my article. And ecocide is the mass damage and destruction of ecosystems, harm to nature, which is widespread, severe, or systematic. And yeah, companies who commit ecocide, there is an organization who is working towards making that real. And you can become an earth protector too. You know, you just donate some money and you help them with this effort to make ecocide illegal. If you think of that on a human basis, it's like genocide for Mother Nature, right? Genocide on Mother Nature, because everybody knows that we're destroying our home. And so, so this is something concrete that the international justice system can wrap their head around and really, you know, like an oil spill, that is ecocide. It is. You know, destroying deforestation, that is ecocide. Yeah, there are so many things. And, you know, so we need the governments to act, and we need the corporations to clean up their supply chain. And we need to think as individuals a little bit differently about how we live our lives. So I wrote some tips, you know, and it's nothing overwhelming. It's not like, oh, we have to change completely. We'll totally, you know, be sacrificing everything. No, 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 no. These are simple, simple, simple things that you can do with your family or alone. Even your children can do something on their own. And it's just so easy. It's just a mindset shift, really. We don't have to consume, consume, consume until we, you know, are broke. That doesn't feed our soul. It doesn't feed our, you know, our minds. It doesn't even feed our wallet. It really harms so many different things. So I wrote about that, and that's one way deer are losing their homes. They are. And so this one deer, the paired David deer, also known as the Milu, which is indigenous to the river valleys in China, is endangered in the wild. And I mean, there are wild Milus running around because they had a huge conservation project and it was very successful, one of the most successful in history actually. And now from 18 that were left in captivity, now there are 2,000 in China and an estimated 8,000 worldwide. However, that's not a lot of numbers, right? However, they won't be moved to the critically endangered species status, which is one below the endangered in the wild status. Endangered in the wild is right below extinct. You have extinct, you won't see anymore, and then you have endangered in the wild, and then you have critically endangered. And endangered in the wild are usually only captive, but they're not moving down. They're not, improving their status until the numbers are even more stable. So that's good. That's a good thing. So basically, there are other species as well who are in danger, but they are losing their homes due to deforestation. So that's what I wrote in the article. I linked to the article I wrote about deforestation. And so there are many things that we can do to help. Easy things that we can do at home. So I encourage you to read that as well. So, deer, what can we learn from deer as a spiritual guide? Like I said before, her innocence, her grace, her just purity. She just exudes this feminine energy of pure goodness and grace and with those big doe eyes, you can basically see the world through child's eyes. So it does bring that innocence and also the playfulness too. Kind of think of Bambi. Bambi and Thumper as they play around in the woods. Very playful animals. And, one thing that you could look as a little warning with this is because they're so innocent and because they are prey and they're always like looking out for predators and their innocence, and that could it would be easy to let the wrong people in your life. So there's a little bit of warning here, don't let everybody in, use your instincts, use your intuition to let the right people in, to lure in the right people with your charm and not to manipulate, but just to find the right people. And because of their playfulness, this could also be a sign to don't be so serious all the time. I have to be careful myself because I do talk about conservation a lot, and it's kind of sad when you look at the facts and figures, and especially when I'm writing an article. Sometimes I do have to stop and breathe and do something fun. Like yesterday was a holiday in Germany, and I was planning on working just like any other normal day. And instead, we bowled because we know somebody who owns a bowling alley and had the whole place to ourselves. It was just a fun day. So I said, okay, it's a holiday, I shouldn't be working anyway. It was Pentecost, by the way. And so I shouldn't be working anyway. And I need this break. So deer helped me with that because I had just finished the article the day before on Sunday, which was also a non-working day, right? But so I took the gift of deer and said, okay. And it was a wonderful day, and I really needed that break. And I'm not feeling sick anymore because I was starting to feel sick because of all this crazy weather we're having. And now I feel wonderful. So it does help. And another thing that the deer is giving us is creativity and innovation. And with this full super blood lunar eclipse, we may get this intense urge to create something new. And what the deer is telling us is to, create something with ease and simplicity and with grace and lots of heart as well. But first, we may need to let go. We may need to reflect, because I'm also taking like the moon energy, the full moon energy. And like I said before, that usually is associated with letting go of something and not starting something new right away. So I think that's what the deer is trying to help us with, is this ease, and do it with grace, and not just boom, like jump and just go ahead and do it, but reflect first, and think about it first, plan it first, strategize. And with the deer's gentle love and compassion, this is most felt in the heart chakra. And so the deer also helps us to lead with compassion. And when you think of the buck, with his huge set of antlers, that's like a majestic crown, he is the king of the forest. And he is respected. Deer is respected and loved. And that's the kind of leadership that we need. This gentle compassion from the heart, but with a power and a grace, and everybody wants to follow that kind of a person. If you can lead with compassion and grace, and do it with such confidence, then and also do good, obviously, right? Then you are a really good leader. That's the kind of leaders we need in our governments, right? Definitely. So yeah, that this is a message for us to lead with our hearts. And if you ever feel like you need to take on a leadership role, then there are some things that you can do, like call in deer, call in the king of the forest, and stand up tall and proud, and imagine yourself with these set of beautiful antlers. And it's just, it motivates you. It gives you a boost, power boost. Another thing, deer also gives us a gift of naive fearfulness. And I say gift because it's a little warning, but it's also a gift. They're cautious, right? Deer are always like looking out, they're listening, they're smelling, making sure that they protect themselves and their family from predators. So their cautiousness could also like initiate attention focused on your fears. Like, are you scared of being in the spotlight when you think of driving? Like, deers will just stop when they see your headlights. So is there something that's scaring you about being present, about being in front of a group, about being a leader, maybe, or being somebody's target as prey? What deer is warning you is that, yes, this could happen. You could fall prey, but he also reminds you that your internal gifts are so much more powerful, right? And that will help you to stand tall, stand up for yourself, and face your fears. And one other thing that the deer gives us as a gift is forgiveness and self-sacrifice. With self-sacrifice, in that I mean, deer know that they're going to be killed, or that they could be killed, that they could be hunted, but they do it with such ease and such simplicity. Like they aren't as hectic as like bunnies. Like bunnies, when you see them, they're like looking all over the place. Bah, 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 bah. Is anybody around? Am I in danger? The deer, they're just like, they just munch and walk, and you can see their ears are moving. They have a very good sense of smell. Their eyes aren't that good. They're a bit colorblind, and so they can't see tigers. They can't see reds and oranges. So those colors just blend into their background. They see like blues and greens more than reds and oranges. So that's why, it's one of the reasons why a tiger is orange. I just found that out too. And so basically with this self-sacrifice idea, you know, they know that they can't all survive, that at some point, you know, they themselves or somebody else might get killed, but it's for the greater good. It's to help the whole family survive, because hunters have their quotas and they'll still take them. And, you know, the deer is, it's basically, it is what it is. It's as simple as that. Some of them are going to die and some of them are going to survive. And so they're not revengeful or, you know, worried about it. I don't know if, I don't know how much worry other animals do. I cannot say that, but yeah. And another thing is forgiveness. It's one of the first steps to embrace authentic self-love, because you need to forgive yourself in order to forgive other people. You need to love yourself in order to give love to others. And so to me, bringing in the deer at this time is saying, okay, maybe it's forgiveness that you need to reflect on first before you can move on. Because a lot of times when you start loving yourself, you start forgiving yourself or somebody else, then you make way for new things to come in. And, you know, this is basically self-care 2.0. It's not just taking a bath. It's actually, you know, going into your inner child. There's that child theme again with deer. You know, to be able to nourish your soul, you have to take care of yourself first. And sometimes that may mean, you know, going through a process where you really learn to love yourself. And like the deer just expresses love and this compassion. Be compassionate to yourself. That's part of the reflection part of this full moon energy that I'm thinking about right now, and how deer can help us with that. And some questions you can ask yourself are, am I blind to the danger of this particular situation or relationship? How can I lead and communicate in a mindful and compassionate way with my heart? What is my intuition telling me about this particular situation? Who do I need to forgive? Myself, perhaps? And yeah, so that's all about deer. And if you want to read more, just look at the link below to the full article. So let's move on to spider. Okay, let's first talk about the species in general. There are like 40,000 known species. And of course there are like probably thousands more that we have not found yet. They're everywhere. Just like deer, spiders are everywhere. And except for Antarctica, right? There aren't that many species in Antarctica. And no, sea spiders are not spiders. Those are, they look like spiders. They have more legs though. They look like spiders and they live in Antarctica and just are crazy, weird looking sea creatures. But yeah, another thing like habitat. The question to ask is, where don't spiders live? They're everywhere, right? They're everywhere. They're the 7th most diverse living being on Earth. Wow. That is pretty cool. And all spiders have 8 legs and 4 eyes. I knew about the legs, I didn't know about the eyes. That's kind of funny. And they're so diverse and abundant that this may scare you, so just chill. That experts believe 1 million spiders live on 1 acre of land, maybe 3 million in the tropics. and that a human is never more than 10 feet away from a spider. And that number 10, I've seen it written down as 3 meters, 5 meters. Nobody seems to agree because we don't know. They're all over the place, but it's okay. Spiders are good animals. They are so good animals. They eat so many harmful insects. Like, you know, they eat mosquitoes, right? They eat so many other harmful insects that that they need to be protected really seriously. They also pollinate plants. I didn't think about that too, but sure, you know, with their sticky legs, they carry around pollen all over the place too. There's even, you know, a camouflage spider species that sits in flowers and then changes to the flower's color to be able to get his prey, right? Now about the conservation of spiders, this is, yeah, you don't think that they would need help, right? They're everywhere, why should we help them? But actually we don't really know much about them as far as, you know, how much help they need. As far as some facts are concerned, in Europe, out of the 4,154 spider species that we know live in Europe, I'm sure that there's got to be more. Only a few have received national protection. In the United States, only 12 spiders have been listed as endangered. You wouldn't even think that, right? And a total of 318 species have been assessed by the IUCN Red List. This list does not mean it grants them protection, but it will help conservation groups seek protection for them. But with over 40,000 species, known species of spider, that's kind of a lack of representation. You know, some people might think, okay, well, other species are more important. But like I said, if we lost species, if we don't know and we don't research and assess the situation and we start losing spider species, think about how many mosquito bites you will have, and that's just you. You know, think about the pollination problem that we're having, right? There's not an abundance of bees anymore because of the pesticides. And think about if we knock out spiders now, we'll have problems with pollination, we'll have problems with insects, and then when we have more insects and plagues of insects, what happens? Pesticides, which destroy our environment, right? So this is stuff that, you know, we need to keep an eye on. I believe in my article, which is linked below, I also named 3 associations who are, you know, all about arachnology. Arachnology. I don't even know how to say that word. Arachnology. That's kind of a tongue twister. So yeah, so look at those links. I mean, hey, you might now not be scared of spiders. That's my intention. I hope not. I hope you're not scared. But if you are, I do link in my article to an animated series called Lucas the Spider, and he's just adorable. And, you know, it may just help you with your fear, you know, because we do need spiders. And so, you know, maybe instead of like going to your vacuum, you know, just take a card, a piece of paper, you know, a magazine, just something thin, and, you know, put a glass over the spider. Be careful because a daddy longlegs' legs are very, very, very sensitive. So be careful moving the paper underneath the glass and just go outside. Okay? I mean, I've done this a gazillion times, and I would do it for you too if you live near here. So just call on me and I will move your spiders outside. Okay, so let's learn about what we can learn from spider. The main thing is creativity. Creativity. When you think of a spider, you think of the amazing designs that they make. Now, not all spiders spin webs. All spiders spin silk, but not all spiders spin webs. And some spin homes, and there's also a really amazing photo on the article that I wrote where, you know, it looks like a tunnel, and he spun his home, and it's just, wow, it's a lot of work. And it's kind of meditative. If you watch a spider spin her web, it's just so intricate and delicate and creative, and they're beautiful animals. They're also very graceful. They just move and just, oh, okay. Even when they walk, like when they walk forward, they first like feel, and then they step. It's just amazing to watch spiders. So if you find yourself in a creative rut, maybe you're an artist, maybe you're a writer, maybe you're a musician, then call on spider energy to get this creativeness back. Another thing is connection to the natural world. Spiders are very grounding. To me, I always like think of them as the protectors, the guardians, the what do you call them? The bodyguards of Mother Nature. And maybe that's because of the Harry Potter film, which one? The Chamber of Secrets, where they have to follow the spiders to the big cave. I mean, it's scary, and you know, poor Ron's like, you know, why do we have to follow the spiders? Why can't we follow the butterflies? Because Ron is so scared of spiders. But yeah, so I, you know, I don't know if it's because of that film, but it makes total sense, right? They, you know, the ton of them, then they kind of like act like the guardians to Mother Nature for me. And so, you know, you can always, if you want to connect to Mother Nature, you can, you know, call in spider energy as well and say, okay, connect me to the earth, connect me deep, you know, deep into the core of the earth to meet Mother Nature, and you follow the spiders. Another wonderful gift is that they help us weave our own reality and truth. Spiders give us the power to create our own destiny, and you know, your truth may be different than somebody else's truth. It may be totally out of the box, right? And you know, when you think of spider, they're also very different. They're a different kind of animal that, you know, doesn't get a lot of compassion or love from a lot of humans. They're different, but that's okay. They don't care. They step up into their uniqueness and design their own life, right? So that's her gift to you, to use, you know, effective communication in weaving your web, and, you know, find solutions in a mindful way. Like spider's also very mindful how she connects her web. Very mindful. You know, that's amazing. And that's where we come into the mindfulness. You know, sometimes we think about things too much, and you know, we think about what others might think. Well, spiders don't care what others think, right? So, you know, they're different and they're okay with that. And so we should be too, right? You know, if you have a different answer or a different opinion, that's your opinion, and you have the right to express it, and you have the right to, you know, speak your truth. What the spider is telling us is to be mindful about it. Effective communication, respect, right? Spiders don't really have our respect, and that's one thing that we should be mindful about. So a spider has 8 legs, and with the number 8, that means infinity. So what she is gifting us is infinite possibilities. And with this, you know, you have so many choices, you have so many paths you can take, but the spider is telling us to be mindful about which one to take. and explore the choices that you have, figure out the ones that feed your soul, and take responsibility for it. And another thing that I like about spider is patience. Just like alligator, both of them wait for the prey to come to them before they attack. And like the spider, you know, if a fly flies into the web, then that spider's right there and cocoons it. Or I've seen also like prey just walking by and the spider's just like waiting. And the prey just walks by and then the spider comes up behind and then poof, it jumps on him. Ah, that's not so good for the for the insect or whatever, but yeah, they're very patient. And also when you think about it, you know, when a fly or butterfly or whatever comes into the web, the spider doesn't eat them right away. Sometimes they do put the venom in, but sometimes they just cocoon them first. And then they don't just eat them right away. They leave them for dinner, you know, it's maybe lunchtime now and they're not hungry. So they just wait. You know, they're very patient and they don't have to eat right away. It's not like the alligator in that sense. So yeah, they wait for the right moment. And that's also, you know, maybe with this full moon energy, you know, it's giving us this urge to do something like quickly. You know, but he's saying, whoa, 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 spider and deer, whoa, just wait. Be mindful about it. Think about it first. Wait for the right moment. It will get there. Use your creativity first. Use it with ease, and you will get what you need. Loneliness, that's another downfall. Of the 40,000 some odd species that we know, only about 24 of them live in groups and share communal responsibilities. I did not even know that there were actually social spiders, but yeah. You know, otherwise they're solitary animals. So that's what we usually consider spider to be, is solitary. And, you know, if you're a spider person, like there are people with spider totems, whether they want to be or not. And, you know, those spider people, they come across maybe, you know, a little fearful or what's the right word, like intimidating to some people, just because of their own aura. It's not something that they may say or whatever, but it's just how they present themselves. And you know, that could like induce some fear in people. So there's a, you know, there's a warning of being lonely. And what spider helps is, you know, bring in the right people. Also, like, you know, with your web, like with deer, like lure in the right people that will understand you and that will appreciate you for the gifts that you have. Spider is also a seductive kind of animal. If you think about it, there's a lot of thinking of like really weird, like sci-fi type of cartoons that I've seen. There's this one show, Death and Love, and they show like little clips, and there was one spider, and she, you know, was like a seductive lady. It was a cartoon, and she was a seductive, yeah, like ex-girlfriend of this researcher. And but in reality, it was kind of like a Matrix situation. In reality, she was actually a huge spider that was kind of scary. So they do have like seductive skills. So, you know, you can use that if you're a spider person, or you can call in spider energy. And if you want to, you know, start a community or whatever, you know, use her energy to lure in the right people to be able to feed your soul and to feed each other. Yeah, another gift is freedom and ease. Like sometimes you'll see a spider just like let the wind carry her. You know, she's spun some silk, and you know it blows off in the wind and sticks to a branch, and then she's able to poof, go fly to another branch. And so she just kind of lets the wind carry her, and that's something that will help us too. We don't always have to control things. You know, there's that branch, but maybe, you know, maybe if we land on that branch, things will be better for us. Maybe there's more food over there than over there. So let the wind carry you, you know, kind of laws of attraction. Let the universe help you out, and you know, you don't have to control every situation. And then there's another gift or warning, or however you want to look at it, is self-sacrifice, just like with the deer. This is pretty interesting. I did not know this. But like I said earlier, what was that? Like 32? There are 32 species from 40,000 with 24. Yeah, 24 species who live in communities, who live in a social setting. And the female Stegodipus dumicola, native to South Africa, allows babies to eat her alive. Now, this is pretty interesting. Since only 40% of the females within a community are able to reproduce because they have a slow maturing process, the virgins will allow her sisters, babies, to eat them. So her nieces and nephews will eat her, and she allows this. This is self-sacrifice for the better good, for the community. I can't imagine, I just can't imagine. So come on, nieces and nephews, just come and eat me, have your food. But yeah, that's what they do. They don't, you know, they don't worry about it, they just do it. Okay, step up, I'll go ahead and do it. And you know, everybody thinks that black widows always eat the males, and that's not true. Only one species always eats the males, and she's in the southern hemisphere. But many times the males are allowed to mate again. So that's a myth that is, you know, that just raises the fear of everybody. It's not true. It's not true. To be able to bring this self-sacrifice symbolism into real terms, no, this does not mean you should sacrifice everything to please others. No, 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 no. This means that in our world today, you can do some sacrificing, if you want to look at it that way, to help the better good. I mean, I talk a lot about conservation, and, you know, this could just mean, hey, ride your bike if you like bike riding, ride your bike instead of driving your car if you can. Eat more vegan meals instead of eating meat every day. I'd love it if you ate vegan meals every day, but you know, take one thing at a time. You know, it's not a sacrifice. When you think about it that way, it's not a sacrifice. It's actually enriching your life, and it's enriching everybody else's lives and the animals too. So for the better good. And you know, Mother Earth needs us to help. So we're doing it for everybody, for life on Earth. And yeah, so that's my take on that. And some questions you can ask yourself are, am I designing the most effective life for myself? What can I do for the greater good without giving up too much, without considering that it's a sacrifice? Who can I lure into my web to nourish my soul and help others? What is my truth? What makes me unique? Am I ready to create this new thing, or do I need to tick a few more boxes first and be mindful about it? So that's it for Deer and Spider. I hope that helped you in some way. And you can always ask me questions in the comments below. And if you want your own personal reading, if you want to find out who your own personal animal spirit guides are, I do individual readings where I present you with 3 of your animal spirit guides, and yeah, I'd love to do that for you. I'd love to meet you and meet your animal spirit guides. And so that's it for this full moon, this super full moon, blood moon, lunar eclipse season. Like I said, it's going to last a while, so enjoy it and enjoy the time tomorrow. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.